Hey, this video is for land agents who want to be better communicators and help their clients get deals across the finish line a little smoother, a little easier, and hopefully a little bit quicker. I just sent an email to an attorney a minute ago, and it got me to thinking about the steps, the processes that I've been doing for a number of years now. And there's not magical, but it's my way of handling the end of a listing when we've already got a contract and we've got a deal made, and we're now just working through the process of getting it closed. Here's what I do, and it's just out of old habit for me. It comes from just being in business all my life and just trying to keep an ongoing communication with clients. I'm not the most social guy in the world. I'm not the life of the party by any means. So I have to really, work to communicate well with my clients. And I feel like I've done that pretty well over the last 15, 20 years. And I want to give you 4 things that I do after a deal is made to stay in communication with the clients. Number 1, I will call them, text them, email them, and how I communicate is I sort of get the best idea as I've gone along in the listing with the client, how they like to be communicated with in terms of business matters. Some like a phone call. Others just like you to get right to the point, maybe just send them a quick text. Others, detail and email so they can keep records of it. So I just do whatever satisfies them or whatever my hunch is for how they like to be communicated with. So I just do whatever's to their benefit. First thing I do is I let them know, hey, contract that you signed a little while ago and that the buyer's already signed, they're aware of a contract going around because it's their deal and we've worked this thing, negotiated it to a deal. I let them know that the contract has been sent to the attorney or the title company. I want my client to know, all the parties to know that the deal is now out of our hands. It's in the hands of the attorney, title company, and everything is moving toward the closing. That's what we've been wanting this whole time. And so now everything is moving toward the closing. So that gives me an excuse or a reason or a motivation to reach out to them, is to let them know, hey, contract that we've worked on is sent to the professionals to get this thing closed. Second thing I tell them is I tell them who will be contacting them. I will give them the name of the closer or whoever the assistant is to the attorney, the title company. I'll give them as much information as I can about who is handling the deal, because those people will likely be in contact with my sellers and they're going to ask them personal information. They're going to get social security numbers. They're going to get marital status. They're going to get information about family if there's some curative work that needs done. So I try to stay out of the personal information, and I let the attorneys and the clients speak directly to one another. And in my opinion, that's the best way for them to get their questions answered or issues resolved. I let them talk to each other. And so that's a habit of mine. I'll send them an email or a text and go, hey, so-and-so from such and such title company is handling your deal. She'll likely be reaching out to you for any needed personal information. And I just wanted to give you a heads up so that when they call, you wouldn't be suspicious and you know that you could talk to them freely. I've always done that. It just sort of makes sense. Well, on a recent deal, I sent my usual message just like that to the gentleman, and he sent me back this text, and I want to read it to you. It's short, but I've got it printed out here, so I want to get it exactly right. He said, "Excellent. Thank you for giving me a heads up on that. My division in the Attorney General's office prosecutes scams, internet and phone scams. So we're always telling folks not to respond to someone they don't know or can't verify. I appreciate your preemptively taking care of my built-in skepticism." So this is just business practice for me, and it's just sort of common sense, just in this day and age, you want to know who you're talking to before you start giving out any information or before you even take a call. A lot of times people, if they don't know who it is, they won't even take the call or open the email. So I try to preempt that a little bit. And then I get this text back from this gentleman who, Attorney General, and I'm not going to say what state. I don't want anybody to track this person down and know who it is. But, go, hey, that's a good thing you're doing that because we take that seriously. This is what we prosecute in our state. He's head of that division with the AG's office. And so anyway, it made me think, hey, all this information I've been given like that over the years, not only is it, helpful to communicate, but it really gives likely a sense of comfort and security on the other end by people knowing who they're talking to and that they can provide that personal information freely. The third thing that I try to do and communicate in a closing is the status. I will just send out a brief message or a phone call or text or something. Just go, hey, I checked with the title company and the appraisal's done, or the title work's done. They're waiting on the appraisal, or whatever it is, whatever the status is. I give them a little update just so that they know things are moving along, that nobody's forgotten them. Maybe it's been 2 or 3 weeks since they heard from anybody and they wonder, hey, is my deal still closing? Yeah, it's still closing. The title company attorney's working on it, and they don't have to call us every day to tell us that. But it gives me a reason, an excuse to reach out one more time with a contact just to let them know, hey, everything's good. And they hang up the phone and they know, hey, I'm in good hands. Things are moving along. I hadn't heard from anybody, but now I have. I know the deal is good and moving along. In fact, we're sneaking up on closing. So that touching base about the status, it's a good excuse for you to contact them, but it's also providing them some comfort and some peace of mind knowing, hey, my deal is still moving along. And then the last thing I do when I communicate with the clients about a closing is I will touch base at the end to say, hey, I've talked to the title company, a closing is set for XYZ date and time, if everybody's going to show up and sign together. Or if it's a mail away close, I'll let them know, hey, they're going to FedEx document or email documents out to you on or about such and such date, so that they can start being aware to look for the documents. And also in that, and I've talked about this in other videos in my book, in different books and stuff, I have already reviewed the documents. Before I told my clients, hey, they're scheduling a closing for XYZ date and time, I have already reviewed the deed. I have looked at the settlement statement and make sure everything is on there right according to the contract. And I'll tell my clients that, say, hey, I've already reviewed the settlement statement. It's attached here if you want to take a look. I've looked at the deed. It's got everything in it's correct, especially that thing about the minerals, or that thing about the servitude, or that thing about this or that. Because that's important in that person's deal. I let them know that, hey, I've looked, it's there. All the stuff we've talked about, the numbers, everything is right. Just want you to know I've reviewed it. Because a lot of times clients get these closing packets and they're 30, 40 pages long with all the disclosures and stuff like that. I mean, the deed's usually just, 2 or 3 pages, and the settlement statement's, 2 pages. But then you got all the other stuff they got to sign. And they don't do this for a living like you and I do. And so sometimes they get overwhelmed by that. And I tell them I've reviewed everything. I've brought up all the stuff that matters so that they're comfortable, so that they don't have to go through there and read every line if they don't want to. Some people do. You'll be surprised how many people don't, especially when somebody tells them, hey, it's all good. They take their word for it. And so that's just another way of keeping your clients satisfied, keeping them at peace, letting them know things are taken care of, letting them know somebody's sort of got their back and looking out for the things that matter in the deal to them. And people appreciate that. The older I get, the more I appreciate just being communicated with, knowing that things are the way they ought to be. And long periods of silence just creates a little doubt. It creates uncertainty, skepticism. So just reaching out time to time with some of these reasons to touch base. These closing things that I've mentioned are just reasons to touch base, but it's also helpful to the clients. I promise you, it'll help your deals go smoother, and you'll win some repeat business from it. Appreciate you watching our videos. If there's some other videos you'd like, well, hey, they're right there. Just check them out. There's some other land agent videos right there. Thanks for watching.